Are you guys ready to go? Okay. We're going to call to order the Narragansett Town Council regular meeting. The time is 7 p.m. It is Monday, November 6th. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so I'd like to welcome all our viewers. Today we have our first PEG Access TV. We were able to get back on cable TV on Verizon 18 and 29 and Cox channels 17 and 28. So it will be, it will also be the broadcast schedule will be the same as it has in the past, which is Tuesday through Thursday at 7 p.m. Additionally, we'll continue to have the live on YouTube, so that's another way that everybody can watch us with the recordings available for years of past meetings at any time that anyone wants to access those. So just some sad news to report. Narragansett Police Department's Deputy Police Chief Jerry Driscoll, retired, passed away unexpectedly on October 26th. Jerry served the town from 1987 to 2012. And then continued his service as a traffic constable. The services were held last week. And also, the Department of Public Works Heavy Equipment Operator Sean Robinson, who was 50, passed away also on October 26th, which was the day after his 50th birthday, after an extended illness. Sean served the town since 2007. Visiting hours will be held on Wednesday, November 8th from 4 to 7 p.m. in Avery Storty Funeral Home, 88 Columbia Street, Wakefield, Rhode Island. And funeral services will be held on Thursday, November 9th at 10 a.m. in St. Francis Church on 114 High Street, Wakefield. And burial will follow in St. Francis Cemetery, George Schaefer Street in Wakefield. At this time, I would like to honor Deputy Police Chief Jerry Driscoll and Sean Robinson with a moment of silence. Thank you. So moving on, we'll get to the approval of minutes. It's a motion to accept and place on file the minutes from the October 16th, 2023 regular meeting.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion by Councilor Lawler, seconded by Councilor Kopek. Motion passes 5-0. Next, we have announcements and presentations. We'll begin with our town manager's update. Mr. King.
Good evening, everyone. Members of the council and the public here and at home watching from television and through YouTube. Some of the updates for this week: the mouth of the Narrow River dredging study project. They have to reschedule their presentation to the next council meeting, November 20th, and Fourth Engineering will be here to do that. The council recently authorized the submission of 4 Rhode Island DEM recreational development grants that the town would apply for. We have completed the applications, and they will all be submitted tomorrow. Update on the library project. The project still remains to be completed by the end of the year. The current balance of the loan advance from the town to the library is down from $1.5 million to $144,000. With plenty of time. The due date is scheduled to be June of 2025. Some other projects in town that are underway. You may have seen the Middlebridge project. The paving started last week. Should be completed in the spring with all the plantings and the drainage and some other issues that have to go on there. Memorial Square, the project started last week and will be in progress for a while in front of the post office. We had some complaints about signage and dog waste stations along Ocean Road. We are making additional dog waste signage to be posted there. We have added an additional dog waste station that has already been installed on the west side of the road. There are already 2 on the east side of the road at the north and the south end. DEM informed us on Friday that the state and PRI 10 have executed a stipulation allowing the tear down of the Lighthouse Inn. I communicated with Terry Gray on Friday night, and state purchasing has posted the request for qualifications for qualified vendors to tear the building down. That litigation is between them and not the town, but this information is being brought forth because the community has a great deal of interest in it, and DEM informed us as soon as that was issued. And also my sincere condolences to the family of Sean Robinson and Deputy Chief Jerry Driscoll, who was also a dear friend to many of us, including me. Thank you.
Thank you. So next we'll move to open forum public comment. Again, the comments of citizens addressing the council are neither adopted nor endorsed by the body, but heard as requested. The rules are sign in to speak at the back of the chambers. State name and address at the podium. Speak only on topics not on the meeting agenda, and there's a 3-minute time limit per speaker, subject matter, and everybody must be orderly and respectful. Mr. Tierney, if you could just let us know who the first speaker is. Okay, nobody signed up. I always give the opportunity if anyone hasn't signed up, if anyone would like to speak. Seeing no hands up, we'll move on to the agenda. Okay. So first. Okay, so next on the agenda, we have the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda, or does anybody wish to remove any agenda items?
I make a motion to move forward with the exception to pull D1 for discussion.
Okay, we'll pull D1. Motion to approve the consent agenda minus D1.
You need a motion still? Or
Yeah, I need a motion to approve the consent
moved.
agenda. Okay, thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Motion by Councilor Kopech, seconded by Councilor Ferrandi. So we have D1 that we removed, and it's the motion to approve the renewal of the professional listing for Kinney Bungalow on Wedding Pro for 2024 from the Knot Worldwide Incorporated in the amount of $5,900.
So moved.
second?
Okay, discussion?
Jim, I'm hoping you can maybe add some information here. The Knot is the wedding website, and I believe that we have 3 wedding venues, the Towers, North Beach Clubhouse, and the Kinney Bungalow. I think that they all use the Knot. So my question is this covering, this almost $6,000, covering the fee for all 3 or just one, the bungalow?
Yeah, I mean, is just the bungalow advertised in that? Is that what you're asking?
I think that they all do, because we have 3 wedding venues, and the Knot is the place to go for brides to take a look. I understand that. But we do have 3 venues that I think do use the Knot. So I'm curious as to if the $6,000 is incumbents of all the event or just the bungalow.
This one is just the bungalow.
Okay. Is there any way that we could, if someone inquires about either of the other 2 properties, I mean, $6,000 is a lot of money. I looked at the background information, and I don't really know the total amount of revenue that the bungalow brought in. I know it operates from May to October, but this seems like an awful lot of money to use for one source. The background information did not go into detail of exactly how many weddings came through the Knot, how much money, how much revenue was there. So I'm wondering if maybe you could be some creative here, and if there's a way that we could not spend $6,000 on a website for May to October, and then have the individuals who work at the other 2 locations, maybe if it doesn't fit, someone sees the towers, the clubhouse, and it doesn't fit, they could say, well, how about the Kinney Bungalow? I'd rather do that than spend $6,000 on a website.
We can certainly research it and get back to everyone on it.
Thank you.
And yeah, just to clarify, so there is some of the background information for those watching. So there was 294 direct leads, 13% year-over-year growth. And so we did get 23 confirmed bookings. Clicks on the website, social media were 111. So, yeah, and then
that information, but I wasn't quite sure if that was just for calendar year, Eva, or for how long it was, and were they inquiries that actually booked? I mean, it looked like a lot of really good information about hits. And it almost looked like information that the marketing company provided the town with as a reason to go ahead and purchase. But I just want some more clarification on that, because it's a good deal of money. We're in a recession. We need to check these things.
yeah, that was a 2023 performance review from the Knot, so that's information. Does any other council members wishing to comment on this agenda item?
I'd like to say something.
Sure, Councilor Frank.
Thank you. I mean, maybe we can do something else in conjunction with this and don't rely just on this.
I think we do.
Yeah.
We do. This is one website that
I
they
mean,
did
I
look
don't know,
at.
is there any definites of how many actual confirmed bookings, 23 from this particular website?
That's what hopefully
is that what you're
Jim will
saying?
get back to us with more of a report. That's what I'm looking forward to, Steve, to find the ROI.
Any other questions or comments from the council?
Well, I would say that there were 23 bookings because we do, the Land Trust has a sort of related relationship with the Kinney Bungalow, and we do get that information every month. It does not probably get as many bookings as the other 2 get, but it's also not open as long as the other 2 because it has no HVAC system. And so I don't really have a problem with this. I think without it, there would be significantly fewer bookings, and I think that the cost of this is absorbed in the revenue that we get.
Yeah, I agree with that. I didn't have an issue with this agenda item. I don't know if if we just want to vote on approving it or not, or. Okay.
I'd just like it clarified that there were actually 23 that generated from this one source. I don't know that that's, I see some head bobbing from the director. Can we ask Michelle?
Michelle, if you're aware of it, come on up.
Good evening. As my agenda states, there were 23 confirmed bookings as a result of this website and its promotion of Kinney Bungalow. I'd also like to add that this cost was built in to the Kinney Bungalow budget for this fiscal year. So it is an important site that we use to showcase this venue. And again, it is only open for a few months out of the year, and we are trying to squeak as many events as we possibly can to use this building, to showcase this building, its history, its beauty, its stature in the community.
Thank you.
Michelle, is there a way to incorporate, I know that has been thought about for a while, that the thought has been out there to maybe to have not 2 event coordinators, but really have 1 and have it all be under 1 and then have the budget be for 1 person. Are you still thinking about that? Because I know we have somebody that does, well, this person, Bungalow, also does the North Beach Clubhouse, and then there's someone that does the towers, correct? Is that?
That is correct, and certainly a decision like that would not be one that I would make.
No, I understand, but is that something that is currently being considered?
I'm unaware of that at this time, Madam.
Okay. I know we talked about that before, so it might be something to take a look at just for budget reasons. Thank you, Michelle.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Seeing how this was budgeted for this year, again, it's a consent agenda item. So I just like to take the vote on all in favor of this. Aye.
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 Hi.
All opposed? All right, motion by Counselor Lawler, second by Counselor Kopech. Motion passes 5-0. Thank you. Okay, next up for new business from the town manager is a motion to approve the tentative agreement negotiated between the town and Public Service Employees Local Union 1033 of the Laborers International Union of North America, AFL-CIO. I have a motion. Oh, I'm sorry, actually.
Oh, so moved.
Second?
I'm sorry, I was
Okay.
thinking about it.
Any comments or questions from the council?
I have a question.
Sure.
Jim, this says tentative agreement, so does this mean everything in the actual agreement is still being negotiated? Or is this, why is there a tentative? That means there's more negotiations or one final sit at the table or however it's going to work?
Yeah, the process for the collective bargaining agreements, the negotiating committee meets, negotiating committee representatives from the town meet with the negotiating committee folks from the union that's being dealt with. We've been negotiating with them for almost 11 months on this. Their contract expired on June 30th of this year. This was after many meetings and negotiations where the parties came together with something that was, mutually agreeable. I mean, it's a compromise sometimes on both sides, and from there, it goes to the union itself, and the body votes on it. They have a union meeting. They vote whether or not they approve of this agreement or not. In this case, the majority, I don't know the vote, that's not something they share with me. The majority voted to support the tentative agreement, and therefore this agreement now comes before the council to ratify or to not ratify.
So Jim, this is the same agreement that you reviewed with the council in executive session about a week and a half ago?
Yes.
Right. So we reviewed it with Jim, and so it's just becoming official to us now.
And I think the reason
Yes.
it's called tentative is that it's not complete until we approve it.
Right.
Is that right?
That is correct. The ultimate approval rests with the elected body, the town council.
Okay, any other comments from the council?
Yeah,
Anyone?
just one more question. Could you explain the June 30th, 0.5%? That's the last day of the contract?
Yeah, it's commonly referred to in the business as a kicker. It is sometimes an enticement. There is no cost to it during this 3-year period. The cost would only be reflected in the following year, which would be July 1st of 2026, depending upon what was negotiated for that contract. That 0.5% would be applied before the new raise. And during negotiations, there are many things that come up. There are many things that don't make it to the TA that have cost factors, cost impacts to the community. And sometimes if this is a tool that's assists the town in getting to where we want to get and avoiding costly arbitration, long-standing friction with the staff over something that has virtually no fiscal impact until 2026, and even that is dependent upon what the new contract would be in 2026.
So is that, obviously, once after that, there's a new contract, but sometimes that kicker, so-called, gives some consideration for the next beginning contract and the different asking increases or whatever it is?
For instance, the last day of this contract, if this is ratified by the council, the very last day at 11:59 p.m., a 0.5% raise goes into effect on whatever they're getting paid, minus, longevity and whatnot. Just
Of the current contract now, you mean? Or this particular one that we're voting on?
this one.
Okay.
They're working under the old working under the old contract right now, and because we agreed to continue to negotiate instead of going to arbitration
Right.
or taking some other path. So With that, like I said, that would take effect the last day of this contract that is before the council now to be ratified. And that's it. It doesn't affect this year's budget, next year's budget, or the year after, the fourth year. It will affect, and that'll all depend on what is negotiated at the time.
That time, yeah.
I mean, the 94 had a kicker at the end of last year's contract, the last day of the contract as well.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for the explanation.
Thank you. Anyone from the public? Okay. I did participate in several of these meetings, and I think it's a fair agreement. Motion to approve the TA, the tentative agreement. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion by Counselor Lawler, second by Counselor Kopech. Motion passes 5-0. Next up from the Fire Department is a motion to approve the revision of the multi-community shelter plan agreement with the towns of South Kingstown, North Kingstown, Red Cross, and the town of Narragansett, and authorize the town manager to sign said agreement.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion from the council? Anyone from the public? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion by Counselor Lawler, seconded by Counselor Kopech. Motion passes 5-0. Next up from the Parks and Recreation Department, we have a motion to approve a request for the RP4 Foundation Incorporated to host a cancer awareness walk on May 11th, 2024, from 8:30 a.m. to 2 p.m., beginning and ending at the West Lot on Ann Hoxie Lane, subject to state and local regulations.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion from the council?
Yes. Jim, is this a new event? Because I know that one thing that the councils have oddly agreed upon over the many, many years is that we don't need any more new events. We'd be able to have existing events, road races, and also existing events that occur on the beach, but not to add anything new. So I just wanted to know, is this a new event?
Speak for yourself, Jill. I like to have a lot of events in the town,
Well,
adding to them. So
actually, I remember you specifically saying that we didn't want to have any more road races. That's kind of weird. But I am
Just like
speaking
having
for
a lot of
myself,
events.
Susan.
I like having a lot of events.
Yeah, this is a new one.
Okay. I think that we have enough. I've heard from many people that, you know, especially this is going to be here in the early spring, we have enough road races and walks. So I'm opposed to adding additional.
Any other comments from the council?
I'm
The only thing-
excited about new events, and I'm going to support this tonight.
Councilor Kopech?
The other thing I was just going to say is that when you look at the route, it's pretty public. It's not going into neighborhoods. It's not interrupting commerce. It's not interrupting religious services. I think it's pretty benign. So I'm okay with it.
Anyone from the public? Okay, let's take the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed?
Nope.
Okay. Motion by Counselor Lawler, second by Counselor Kopech. Motion passes 4-1. Next, from the Community Development Department, we have a motion to accept a grant from RI Housing in the amount of $33,100 and authorize the town manager to sign the statement of work with Housing Works RI to carry out a public education program addressing the issues of affordable housing, subject to review by the town solicitor.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion from the council? Anyone from the public?
Just to say, it's not our money, it's grant money from the state, because it's a little bit, it's having people come to focus groups to learn and help them understand that affordable housing is a good thing. I just want to make sure that everybody in town knows it's not our money, it's money that the state is giving us to help their emotions, right, Jim?
Correct. That's
Yes,
correct.
we're accepting the grant. Mr. Tierney, do you have anything else additional to add to it? No?
I do not. This is one of the two grants that the council directed us to apply for, and we're still waiting on the other one.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion by Counselor Lawler, seconded by Counselor Kopek. Motion passes 5-0. Next up, from the Finance Department, we have a motion to approve the one-year contract extension for heating fuel for 6 town facilities with Peterson's Oil Service Incorporated at their bid price of 22 cents differential over the lowest Providence Terminal tank car price as posted daily for number 2 heating oil. The on-call hourly service rate of $135 for regular hours, and the on-call hourly service rate of $155 for overtime hours under the same terms and conditions as the original contract.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion from the council? Anyone from the public? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion by Counselor Lawler, seconded by Counselor Kopek. Motion passes 5-0. Next up, we have a motion to approve the enterprise fund balance policy and adopt the associated resolution delegating the authorization of assigning enterprise fund balances to the town manager.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion?
I just want to make one comment. In the information about what was going to be in the enterprise funds, one of the items is that the Beach Enterprise Fund is maintaining a minimum of $2 million. Some of us met a long time ago, like 8 or 9 months ago, on this subject, and it was my understanding that the last major, natural disaster that we had was Superstorm Sandy. That was the last major one. And at that time, there was a great deal of damage, and the damage was largely resolved through funding from either FEMA or other government agencies. And if I remember correctly, the total amount of funding that the town needed was about $150,000. So I'm a little concerned that we're going to maintain a minimum of $2 million. I think it's a little high. So I'd like to consider making it less. I mean, if you took the 150 and you considered, the years that have passed and what the increase in costs of everything are, I would think that at least, we could do this natural disaster fund for $1 million and probably be safe in terms of ensuring that we could cover the costs that accrued to the town. So I just wanted to make that point.
Anyone else from the council wishing to comment? So I think it is an arbitrary number. I think it was $1 million in the past, and it was 1.25. I would agree to lowering it if anyone would like to entertain the idea of 1.5 million, kind of meet in the middle, because I did speak to
1.5 would be better than 2, yeah.
I'm fine with the 2, because the 2 is really, the 1 was for the beach, correct? Was not for also the other buildings associated with it.
This is the
And
Town Beach Enterprise Fund, so it's only.
I understand, but the enterprise fund can also be used for the pavilions and for all the other,
Right, and all the damages that we had in that last major, situation were
I understand,
were covered.
but things go up, prices go up, prices have gone up, great. You've just redone your house, you should know that better than anybody. The construction
I
costs
didn't
have
redo
gone
my
through the
house,
roof.
just for the record.
All right, whatever, Deb, Deb did some type of
Yeah,
renovation
but
to
I
her
don't think,
home.
I think if I had,
Anyone
I
else?
think the
from-
bottom line here
Make
is
a
just.
motion.
I would like to stick with the 2 million, please.
Any
I'd
other
like to amend-
comments? Oh, sorry, I don't need to.
I was going to do an amendment,
Okay.
I'd like to amend this motion, sorry. I'd like to amend this motion to reduce the amount for the Beach Enterprise Fund, the section that it refers to natural disaster, from 2 million to, and I will accept 1.5 million, although I still think 1 would be fine. But I think that would be, you know, and if we found out, I think the other point is, and somebody can correct me if I'm wrong.
Finish the
If in
motion.
fact in the future, I know, but I just want to
And
say,
then discuss.
well, that is the motion.
And I was going to
okay?
second that.
Okay, go ahead, second that. But my point is that we could change it if we had to.
Correct.
Correct, so we could always look at it in the
Right.
future years.
I think we're supposed
So we have a motion on the table, motion by Counselor Kopech, seconded by Counselor Cicilline Bonanno, and it is a motion to, just only amend that section where it's 2 million to 1.5 million. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
No.
No.
Okay, motion by Counselor Lawler, seconded by Counselor Cicilline Bonanno. Motion passes 3-2. We'll go back to the main motion to approve as amended. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
No.
No.
Motion passes 3-2. Okay, it is 7:31. We just need to move on to the public hearing decision portion of the meeting. First up is a motion to schedule a public hearing on December 18th, 2023, to amend Chapter 731 of the Code of Ordinances of the Town of Narragansett entitled Zoning, specifically Section 2.2 entitled Definitions, Households, and refer the matter to the Planning Board for recommendation.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
I have a question ever on this. Is there any appetite to switch this from, move the taxation and finance one to the 18th and move this to the 4th? Public hearing.
This was a date that came up through the staff and the planning board, so it's pretty much, taking their workload into account, and they have been working on a lot, so I would like to keep the meeting as scheduled and proposed by town staff and the planning board. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed?
Nay.
Okay, so this is, I think I got it right. So motion by Councilor Lawler, second by Councilor Ferrandi. Motion passes 4-1. Next up, we have a motion to schedule a public hearing on December 4th, 2023, on an ordinance and amendment of Chapter 70 of the Code of Ordinances of the Town of Narragansett, Rhode Island, entitled Taxation and Finance.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion by Councilor Lawler, seconded by Councilor Kopech. Motion passes 5-0. Next up, we have a motion to schedule a public hearing on December 4th, 2023, for text revisions to various sections of the zoning ordinance to comply with or respond to recent mandated changes from the General Assembly.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion by Councilor Lawler, seconded by Councilor Kopech. Motion passes 5-0. Next, we have a motion to schedule a public hearing on December 4th, 2023, for text revisions for discretionary changes to the zoning ordinance to respond to recent mandated changes from the General Assembly.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion by Councilor Lawler, seconded by Councilor Kopech. Motion passes 5-0. Okay, next up from the Engineering Department, we have a motion to approve a one-year extension of annual preventative maintenance agreement for instrumentation, control programming, and SCADA equipment system from Electrical Installations Incorporated in the amount of $12,960. Water is $4,320, and wastewater is $8,640 of that $12,960 amount, and their quoted hourly rates.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion from the council? Anyone from the public? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion by Counselor Lawler, second by Counselor Kopek. Motion passes 5-0. Next, we have a motion to approve the filling of one vacancy within the wastewater division due to a resignation.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion from the council? Anyone from the public? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion by Counselor Lawler, seconded by Counselor Kopek. Motion passes 5-0. Next, from the Public Works Department, we have a motion to read, pass, and adopt as a second reading a resolution amending the official list of parking restrictions and regulations in the town of Narragansett in accordance with the Narragansett Code of Ordinances for the installation of a van-accessible handicap parking space on Boone Street adjacent to 18 Kingstown Road.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion by Counselor Lawler, second by Counselor Kopek. Motion passes 5-0. Next, we have a motion to approve a contract amendment for final design and bidding services for the Town Hall Front Entrance Improvements Project with Robinson Green Beretta, RGB, in the amount of $17,500.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion from the council?
One quick question to Jim. Jim, is this money in the budget? Do we have this money to do?
It is funded currently with the American Rescue Plan Act
Okay.
funds.
Thank you.
So that means there was money out that was available that we hadn't spent already?
This was assigned, this money was assigned as a component of that when the council approved the special project.
Well, I knew for the front of the, so just to clarify this, because I was a little bit confused. So we need to replace basically some of the brickwork, and then also these windows need to be replaced on the rest of the building besides the front. Is that correct?
Yes, and there's sidewalk issues, accessibility issues.
So is that work being done, or is this part of planning going forward? Are we just going forward to do this? I just couldn't get.
Once this is completed, then we would move forward with finding a vendor, a contractor would go out to bid at that point.
Okay, so
Which is also funded.
So the $17,500 does what?
It finalizes the
The design?
design.
Okay. I
Because
just-
they had done it back in like 2015, I believe it was.
Yeah.
And there's been considerable changes
Right.
since then with deterioration. And there also have been improvements since then too, like the stairwell here, the path in the front. So this would bring it up to date so that we could go out.
Okay, I couldn't quite understand whether we were actually doing the work or we were just working through the design, but
It's
now I
been
get,
going on a
I
long
should have
time.
known, right,
I
with all that
understand.
work I was doing in my house. Okay, thank you. There's a bathroom.
Okay, any other discussion from the council? Anyone from the public? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion by Counselor Lawler, seconded by Counselor Kopek. Motion passes 5-0. Next, we have a motion to approve a contract between the Town of Narragansett and the Rhode Island Department of Transportation for participation in the RI Ready Municipal Road and Bridge Program, and authorize the town manager, finance director, and solicitor to sign the contract for this project that will apply approximately $1.5 million to preventative road maintenance and minor restoration to 48 town roads.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion from the council?
Again, I just want to clarify, sorry. Spent a lot of time on this agenda this weekend. I just want to make sure that what we're doing here is we're actually adding additional roads to be repaired or whatever has to be done to them, and this gives us the funding along with our own piece of that to make that happen. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, the
right?
engineers have prioritized roads according to their need.
Right.
And then when the state rolled out this program, they identified that $502,000 for us that we can use for these projects.
So it's-
And then there's a match for us of $1 million, but these
Right.
things need to be done.
Right.
this is where we're getting the money.
So it's the same list that DPW has had. We're working off the same list, correct?
Ye- Yes,
But we'll get more done as a result of that.
yes.
Got it. Good.
Any other questions from the council? Anyone from the public? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion by Counselor Lawler, second by Counselor Kopek. Motion passes 5-0. Next, we have a motion to approve the filling of a vacant heavy equipment operator's position within the Highway Division at Public Works and any subsequent vacancies that will arise from the filling of this position.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion from the council? Anyone from the public? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion by Counselor Lawler, seconded by Counselor Kopek. Motion passes 5-0. Next, from the town clerk, we have a motion to approve the town council meeting schedule for the calendar year 2024.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion from the council? Anyone from the public? Dr. Alba.
Dr. Al Alba, 24 Eagles Nest Terrace, Narragansett, Rhode Island. As you all know, I created the Town Narragansett page and the Narragansett Town Council forum page. We have collectively probably close to 14,000, 15,000 members. I get feedback all the time in regards to participation in the Narragansett Town Council meetings and putting forth ideas. And as a result of the new schedule, which was moved till 7 p.m. starting time.
Dr. Alba, I'm just going to, this is just for the dates, it's not for the time. So do you have, are you supporting the dates, or do you have a problem with the dates? This is just to approve the dates.
Well, the only concern I have is the dates or the times, the schedule, for whatever reason, because I can't speak at the open forum at the beginning of the meeting.
This is a separate issue. This is to approve. Again, let's get back to the
At
motion.
the end of the meeting, that would be great.
That's a separate issue. Okay, so do you support the dates? So it's a list of dates, that's all where, that the motion is on the
Well, like I
dates?
said, I'm not supportive of the time.
Okay, that's not, okay, this is an agenda item that is about dates, so
I'm just sharing you as counsel.
thank you, Dr. Alba.
President, I'm just sharing
Thank you,
as counsel
Dr. Alba.
my concern
Thank you, Dr. Alba.
having
Thank
transparency,
you.
openness.
All in
Thank
favor?
you.
Aye. All opposed?
Aye.
Motion by Counselor Lawler, seconded by Counselor Kopek. Motion passes 5-0. Next, we have a motion to approve the meeting schedule for the budget process for the 2025 fiscal year, which begins on July 1st, 2024.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion from the council? Anyone from the public? It's just approving dates. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All
Aye.
opposed? Oops.
Aye.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, 5. Okay, motion by Counselor Lawler, second by Counselor Kopek. Motion passes 5-0. Next, we have a motion to schedule a work session on December 4th, 2023 at 6 p.m. to interview applicants for the planning board.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion by Counselor Lawler, seconded by Counselor Kopek. Motion passes 5-0. Next, we have a motion to appoint 5 individuals to the Recreation Advisory Board for staggered terms.
So moved.
Second?
Thank you. Okay. So the way we have several appointments we need to make, there's a list. So how we'll do this is we'll just take nominations, and any council member who wishes to nominate an individual, just nominate that individual and state why you're nominating that individual. Then we can discuss the candidates, kind of come up with a consensus, and then later, once we have consensus, somebody can make a motion to appoint. We can do slates, we can do it one at a time, but for now, I'm just going to take names of individuals who any council members would like to be considered for the Parks and Rec Board. I'll start with Councilor Kopek.
I was just wondering if we could separate out the 2 individuals who are requesting reappointment first, so we could, and then move forward from there.
Okay.
They are Roberta Brady and Gina Gerama.
Okay, does anyone want to discuss, does anyone want to just make a motion to reappoint those two
I
individuals?
would make that motion.
I'll second that.
I would do that. I just want to include on that, in the motion, there was also some background information from the motion. I just want to point out one thing, although I'm very much in favor of reappointing Gina. Not only is she a very good member of the committee, she also volunteers to be our secretary, which is a thankless job, and she does it really, really well. But the background information does state, and I want to make sure everyone saw it, not that I hope it doesn't change your votes, but she did miss 3 meetings in a row back in 2020. And according to the rules of the committees and to the clerk's office, an information was sent to the town clerk that she had missed June, July, and August unexcused absences in 2022. That wasn't included in the motion, but it was included in the background information. So I just wanted to have it up there, but I highly recommend that this board, the town council actually does reappoint Gina, but that information should be up there.
Okay, any other discussion from the council? So we have a motion on the table. We have a motion to reappoint Roberta Brady and Gina Gerama. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All
Aye.
opposed? Motion by Councilor Kopek, seconded by Councilor Cicely Bonanno. Motion passes 5-0. Okay, so then I will,
I'd like to nominate, suggest, recommend.
Is it Steve's turn, or you did
I
one?
usually get,
Well, I think that was a different. You can do whatever you want.
okay.
All right.
We'll go to this side.
So,
Councilor Farindy.
So we have nominated 2 and reappointed, and there are 4 other positions, correct?
3.
3. So we have 3 positions, so I'm going to just take, so if you just want to nominate an
Yeah,
individual
well,
and then just kind of give some
I want to
background.
nominate 3 if I could, that way I can get the names
We can do that.
out there.
Everybody
and then-
can do a group of names as well, so if you would just like to nominate your slate.
Okay. I'd like to nominate Deborah Rinaldi, Timothy Kearns, and Philippe LeBlanc. I just have one question on it. It says the following have served their maximum terms: Joe Mulligan, Paul Roach, Thomas Warren, Deborah Rinaldi, but she is one I'm requesting, that's why it's only 3. But you're actually 4 people, correct?
I'm sorry? And
There's
There's a total
actually,
of 5, Steve.
so we already appointed 2, we
right,
reappointed?
no, I know that, right.
So the confusion about
There's
Deborah Nalde,
actually 4.
I
according
got
to
this,
the way
I'm sorry.
reading this.
There can't be lots of
Yeah,
talking from
there's
both
4.
sides.
We still have 4 to appoint, correct?
We have
3.
3.
3, okay.
We have 3 to appoint, so if you could give 3 names if you'd like, and then we'll have to appoint individually because
those are the
they are
3
going to be
names.
staggered terms, so we're going to have to appoint by term. So you have 3.
Yep.
I'll go to Councilor Lawler.
okay, so I would like to put in Deborah Nalde's name as well. The motion reflects that she has termed out. However, if you look at the council rules attached, rule number 4 says after 1-year hiatus, they can then rejoin the committee. Deb's term ended 11/1/22, so today being the 6th of November, it is more than 1 year, so we could reappoint her to this board, and I highly recommend we do so. Deb has extremely extensive experience in the recreation, being whether it be youth or older people as far as activities. We have a lot of people that have good experience on the beach. Deb would bring us some really good expertise in the recreation portion, which the Park and Rec Board has been talking a lot about. We need to have more activities year-round for residents, so Deb would bring that. I also would like to recommend Roxanne Pereira, who would bring the experience from the beach. We're losing 3 people from the board that have served for a total of 6 years, 2 terms of 3 each. The chair, Tom Warren, Joan Mulligan, and Paul Roach, who all have extensive experience with the beach. Roxanne would then bring experience, which is much needed as far as longevity and understanding what has happened to the beach. And the last person I'd put forward is Phil LeBlanc, someone who is a member, who lives in the north end of town and has young children that go to school here and have recreation purposes. I think his perspective would be something that would be really greatly needed on the board and could add some impact to what Gina already provides. Those 3 names.
Thank you. Councilor Cicely Bonanno?
So I just have a question about Deborah Naldi, because is she in the application? Because I don't see her in there. I know she served, she expired, but is she interested in serving again? 'Cause
Yes.
she's
She,
not-
she had, there was, it was part of like the applications that we had to review, the applications that Ms. Taro gave us.
So I would, support, since she's had the year off. I think that I've seen Deb at work, and I think she does a great job at the beach, and I think it would be well-served to have her on it. And, I mean, I think the list is exhausted. I really wasn't planning on nominating. Casey from the Montanaro. Yeah, I think Casey would be a great representative. She's involved, she owns a small business, she's a beach goer. I think she would be an asset to the committee as well, but I'll defer to my colleagues.
Counselor Kopek?
I was going to nominate Timothy Kearns and Philip LeBlanc, so I'm fine with both of those. I also think Casey is a good choice. Among other things, she actually lives across the street from one of our parks. I mean, she works across the street from one of our parks and sees exactly what happens, and that would be the Thompson Park. So I like the idea of Casey because she is a huge proponent for Narragansett. She's done some really great work for various nonprofits, et cetera. But I also think that she provides a different point of view, and I kind of like the idea of a different point of view on all of our boards and committees and commissions, because sometimes, we get stuck in a bubble and everybody's kind of, has the same point of view about everything, and I think that she has the opportunity to provide something that's a little different, kind of like what Jill said about Gina. I think Gina has the same kind of capability, that it's not necessarily, always the same folks. But I'm definitely on board with Kearns and LeBlanc.
Thank you. Okay, so I did review all the applicants. My nominees would be Deb Rinaldi, Timothy Kearns, and Philip LeBlanc. So again, we have three appointed terms. So Ms. Taro, just to clarify, the two that we reappointed are going to be for 3-year terms. Did you need me to clarify that? And then we have, so now,
We're staggering. That's your call.
well, right, so no, that is our call. No, but what I'm saying is now I'm going to we're going to go to, we have 1, so we're going to do the stagger. So the point I was making is that our reappointments are going to be for full terms because they requested reappointment. The next order of business is going to be for, so actually somebody to make a motion to appoint an individual to be appointed to a term expiring on November 1st, 2026, and then we're going to make an appointment for a motion to appoint an individual to a term expiring on November 1st, 2025, and then we will appoint an individual to be appointed to a term expiring on November 1st, 2024. So we'll go with the 3-year, 2, and 1. So would anybody like to make a motion to appoint an individual to the term expiring on November 1st, 2026?
I would like to nominate Deb Rinaldi
Do I have a second?
For which one?
for 2026.
Yeah. Who did the second?
I did.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion by Councilor Lawler, second by Councilor Cicely Bonanno. Motion passes 5-0, and that is for Deb Rinaldi to be appointed for the term expiring November 1st, 2026. Next, would somebody like to make a motion to appoint an individual to the term expiring November 1, 2025, which is a 2-year term?
I'd like to nominate Phil LeBlanc.
Can I ask, we have to, can I ask a question? Do we know, or is there anybody on this board whose term is going to expire next year?
Yes, we have Jan Costa, who
Right, okay.
will. Yes.
Because Jen, then, if Mr. LeBlanc wants to, he could move up to a 3-year one. And at that point, we can go to 3s
Yes.
going forward, so that would be good.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep, so I have a motion, a motion by Councilor Lawler. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? And that's a motion to appoint Phil sorry about that, fill a blank to the term expiring November 1st, 2025. Motion by Councilor Lawler, second by Councilor Kopek. Motion passes 5-0. Lastly, we need a motion to appoint an individual to the term expiring on November 1st, 2024.
I believe the name that was mentioned 3 times was Timothy Kearns. So
Correct.
I'd like to nominate Timothy Kearns for that term.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Motion to appoint Timothy Kearns to the term expiring on November 1st, 2024. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion by Councilor Lawler, second by Councilor Kopek. Motion passes 5-0. All right, that wasn't as painful as I thought it was going to be.
Good job, Council.
Thank you.
Good job done.
Thank you. I thought that was going to take a lot longer. Okay, next up, we have a couple agenda items from the Town Council. The first one is a motion to refer to the Finance Committee a review of the town's current tax structure and to analyze potential tiered alternatives and propose any potential recommendations to ensure a stable and predictable revenue model for the town.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, so this is coming from myself and Councilor Ferrandi, who is the liaison to the Finance Committee. And this isn't something that has been talked about in the past. And it actually was on the agenda for the Finance Committee meeting last time that there was going to be something coming from the council. This is suggested, just to give some background on this, is it's requesting the finance director and the tax assessor to collaborate with the Finance Committee in reviewing and comparing the current tax structure to various tiered models for residential and commercial property taxes. The analysis should identify various tiered options and include a comparison to the current homestead tax exemption, owner-occupied incentives, or other alternatives as precedented in other municipalities. Specifically, propose recommendations to continue existing tax structure or propose alternatives to the residential, commercial, and personal property tax rates that will ensure a reliable and fiscally sustainable revenue source. And the key goals of this assessment will include promoting affordability of owner-occupied housing, maintaining a competitive commercial rate structure, and ensuring revenues keep pace with forecasted expenditures. And then all of the resulting recommendations will, of course, be reviewed by the Town Council. I'll turn it over to Councilor Ferrandi if he has any other comments to make.
Thank you, Eva. This is one of very important issue that's been happening in town. I mean, you can look at our last census where we've lost 8% of our population in the last 10 years. And, you know, there's a big issue. We don't have as many residents here as we used to. They can't afford it. The tax structure is, we've had a lot of heavy investment from, rental properties, you name it. People just parking money through COVID. So we should look at some way of adjusting our tax structure to make it look like a town we want in the future, where we have our schools back, to capacity. This is one way of kind of looking at all the different tax structures that other towns have done in the state, and it's sorely needed so we can have this. This is a resident-friendly, neighborhood-friendly kind of ordinance, so we can keep our neighborhoods like we are, and we're not going to lose any more neighborhoods. We can make some incentives for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the council?
No, I just wanted to thank the finance director who is here tonight. I know she's been meeting with the tax assessor, and they've worked with the state as well with many options. So I know there's been a great deal of work on her end already done. So thank you. I want to recognize you for that and for working with the committee in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to make one comment. I think one of the points that is important is that the Finance Committee is, their objective is to be supportive of the activity of the Finance Department and particularly the Finance Director. So, I want to make sure that whatever this collaboration turns out to be, that the Finance Director sort of has the ultimate say in what comes to our, comes to us as far as any kind of recommendations going forward. I think that's very, very important. I want to make sure that she has the overarching
authority.
responsibility for this.
I
Agreed.
100% agree with
you.
Deb.
Yes.
And also that you have the
Agreed.
time to
Oh,
work
sorry.
on it.
Sorry, Mr. Tierney?
We talked about this when it came forward, the finance director, myself, and a member of the finance committee as well. And we look at it as an opportunity of a think tank for them to work together,
Okay.
different, fresh set of eyes, and share ideas and see what comes out in the end. And that's the way we're approaching it. It's a think tank. And we'll
That's great.
advise the council of results.
Thank you. Anyone from the public wishing to comment? Mr. Vangermish?
Richard Vangmish, who's on the Finance Committee, at least briefly. I would suggest in addition to the term stable and predictable, and that is equitable, because that is a crucial word for any tax. It has to be equitable. Now, what that means is unknown, but it must be you'd want to make sure the stable and predictable run is also equitable.
Dr. Alba? And this is a motion to refer.
Yes, Dr. Al Alba, 24 Eagles Nest Terrace, Narragansett. Yes, I'm in favor of this. I think it's very important. We have the Airbnb, short-term rentals. Let's face it, a lot of them tax our sewer systems, tax our municipalities. So definitely, let's look at taxing, if we have to increase a tax on those levies so that we can support our infrastructure, I am in full support of that. Obviously, if one has a year-round rental, well, then we can think of holding back and keeping their taxes on par. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public wishing to comment? Oh. Mr. Lynch?
Dennis Lynch, 22 Central Street. I also support this. I agree with Steve that it's probably one of the most important undertakings that the committee will launch during your tenure. And I also applaud the notion of the key goal being affordability. There is a term, though, that's being used when we're talking about affordability for owner-occupied housing. And that term is inclusive of two very distinct constituencies in the town, year-round residents and families, and seasonal owners who do not rent. And of course, our homestead exemption now points to the year-round families. And I'm just hopeful that the intent, it's not the council's intention to lump the two together, but would be looking at scenarios in both categories as an approach for year-round families, as well as an approach that might be inclusive of seasonal ownership. Because as Steve points out, it feels like our year-round family occupancy is reducing, and we know the largest portion of our housing right now is not rentals, it's seasonal owners who do not rent. So it's fine that they come here, and spend time, but we really want to, I think, point to households that continue to knit the community together. So I'm just hopeful that was not the intention of the council, that you would restrict the Finance Committee from investigating only a clumped version of that, but that you would look at scenarios that would look at them individually. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public wishing to comment? Okay, seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed?
Nay.
Okay, motion by Counselor Lawler, second by Counselor Kopek. Motion passes 4-1. Last on the agenda for Town Council is a motion to rescind the October 2nd, 2023 Town Council vote for the motion to reject the recommendations of the Sewer Policy Committee and approve the waiver for Plat 5, Lot 40, Point Judith Road on the basis that the proposed project will be permitted to connect to the privately owned sewer fronting the property if a waiver is granted, which was not documented at the time of the sewer policy meeting that failed with a 2-2 vote.
So moved.
Second?
Okay, so this one, I put this one on, and just to give a little background of this, so when we had a sewer committee meeting, and just to go over the process of the waiver requests, the staff receives requests and evaluates it. If staff denies the request, the applicant is notified of the option to appeal to the sewer policy committee. Then if the applicant appeals the staff decision, the sewer policy committee reviews it, votes, and prepares a recommendation. And then since the sewer policy committee is advisory to the council, the motion to approve, reject is directed to the town council along with the recommendations of the sewer policy committee. And then basically, once it comes to the council vote is a final decision. So unlike the planning and zoning boards, the sewer policy is not like that. It does not have the authority legislated by state law. And so it does not have any authority to act on a matter which was voted on the council. So once it comes to the council, that's the end, can't go back to the sewer committee. This motion failed last time. It was 2-2 votes. There was some information, again, like within the body of the motion. It was not presented at the time. So this is a motion to rescind, which undoes the vote. I know we really haven't really utilized that during our council tenure on this body. I think we did it one other time, but rescinding a vote can be done by any council member, regardless of how they voted on it. When we take, it's another parliamentary procedure. So there's also to reconsider. When you reconsider a vote, the only individual that can reconsider is somebody who voted the opposite way, and it's a defined time period. With the rescind, it doesn't matter on the time limit. So I think this was an important vote to bring back. I think the state, the town, we all are looking to see affordable housing in our community. The issue with this was like, if we just leave it here, we're subject to litigation, and to prevent us from being litigated, I think it's prudent to rescind the vote that we had taken previously. So with that, I'll entertain any questions or any discussion from the council.
I just have a question about the rescinding. So if we rescind it, because I'm not as familiar either, then do we then have to have another vote to approve that at another time?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other discussion from the council?
I'd like to say something.
Sure.
Thank you,
Ferrandi.
Eva. I too sit on the sewer policy committee, and we've had several come to us, and there's rules and regulations on the policy committee, and one of them is that they basically have to show that they have a failed septic system or to that effect. And most of the time, the several that I've been on, it's when the line just maybe gets extended into, one or two lots from there, from where it is. This particular one, there was no mention about a private sewer line. It was mentioned in the sewer policy committee, but there was no commitment, I guess. And to be honest with you, I never thought the town had any private sewer connections, but evidently we do. And doing my diligence on this, I just wanted to make sure that, there was consistency in what was being asked for. The applicants were told what exactly they needed for the sewer waiver. And because it's not just as simple as it seems. It does go to the council eventually. So this particular one did not. There's one house on this lot. It's a 4-acre lot. There's one house, but I guess a lot of it is wet. So if the sewer granting if it's waived, this is going to actually go to the planning board with a 7-unit development, along with the 1 unit that they originally only granted. You can only grant one, so it's a little bit different than the normal sewer policy one, where there's just one added on. What I did find out is that there is a private sewer line, and I've tried to ask some questions. I don't know if the town has a stated policy of how the town hooks into a private sewer line. What happens between the private line and when it hits the public line? Is there a bonding for that? So in doing all my diligence, that's the reason why initially I voted no, and even at the last hearing I voted no, because this hasn't been vetted out. It will be vetted out, but it's a little caveat. It's going to be vetted out at the planning board, if it passes, with an 8 sewer line approval. So those are my questions. I think there's a few other questions involved. I know something called the Manning line, I guess. There's an agreement between the developer and the owners of the property that want to develop it. Do we know, and I've asked some questions, is there any other people that have approvals already to that line, or actually have something written that they can get into that line just to somewhere in the future? So there's a little more to what it seems like, as far as, and I get it's all about the affordable housing and everybody wants that, but I just don't think we should throw away every rule in the town's arsenal to just go ahead and say, it's a little different story going with an 8-unit development to the planning board than having to go for septic tank systems like we did at Clark Road. The town denied that. The applicants went to the state, and I believe they were able to get some septic systems. So that's all I wanted to say
Thank
on
you.
it. This is going to be right on the road. It's actually going to be 8 properties in 1 acre, and it's actually zoned R80, I believe.
Okay, thank you.
That's the reason why I
Yeah.
voted the way I am. I just want everybody to understand. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Ferrandy. Just so the public knows, one of the opportunities for sewer waiver is if somebody is going to be developing affordable housing, and this does meet that criteria because 3 out of those 8 units would be deemed affordable housing. So this motion, will get back to what this motion is. It's a motion to rescind the October 2nd one, but I am going to let Councilor Lawler speak as well, but I just wanted to reset us, and so that we focus on what the actual motion is on the table.
Right. So, Mark, just a clarification. What we're being asked today to do is rescind, and I'm hoping that rescinding is this last time we hear this. This is not a thing we want to get accustomed to doing, is rescinding, because it opens up a can of worms. But what this will do is we'll then allow for the town engineer to take a look at it again. But what we're not approving a subdivision. We're approving that they be able to hook up into a private sewer line, correct? And then it goes to planning and zoning, and there are all sorts of tests and questions that will need to pass at that point. Is that correct? We're just approving the hookup tonight.
You're not approving the hookup tonight. You're rescinding the no vote. It was a stalemate at 2-2, so the motion to accept failed. So you're just rescinding that, and it resets.
Understood, and I misspoke when I said that. My question is the council's role in this is really just to approve the ability to be able to hook into a sewer line, correct? And then the planning board and the zoning board will regulate many of the things that Steve was describing, the number of dwellings, I know that they said some affordable, but I'm sure that the planning board and zoning board have the flexibility to maybe potentially even increase the amount of affordable housing that could be put in. But really, the role and responsibility for the council is only to approve hookup to a sewer, correct?
That's correct. You're not
Okay.
circumventing planning or zoning.
Okay.
And if there are variances or relief needed, they'll have to seek that in the proper course.
Okay.
So no, your decision doesn't impact those matters.
Okay. And as Steve, I had voted no last time because I had actually hoped that we could send it back to the sewer committee, and it wasn't until a couple of days later when I spoke to Mr. Davis, I recognized we weren't able to do that. So I'm ready to go ahead and vote with you.
Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
No?
Okay, so motioned by Counselor Lawler, seconded by Counselor Kopek. Motion passes 4-1. Lastly, we have an executive session, a motion to retire to executive session of the Town Council in accordance with Rhode Island General Laws 42-46-4 and 42-46-5A for the purpose of personnel to accept modifications to the employment agreement for the town manager pursuant to 42-46-5A1.
So moved.
Second,
And I'll have a roll call vote with that.
Deb Kopek, aye.
Steve Ferrandy, aye.
Jill Lawler, aye.
Susan Cicilline Banano, aye.
Eva Drutinsky, aye. Motion by Counsel Lawler, second by Counselor Kopek. Motion to retire passes 5-0. We'll come back after the meeting to adjourn the regular meeting. Okay. Okay, we're back from the executive session and the disclosure of executive session votes. We had a motion to seal the November 6th executive session minutes. Motion by Councilor Kopech, seconded by Councilor Ferrandi. Motion passed 5-0. And next, we had a motion to exit and reconvene in open session. Motion by Councilor Kopech, seconded by Councilor Ferrandi. Motion passed 5-0. And lastly, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? We're adjourned. Good night.